From the basement of the Hopheads Guide to the Galaxy World Headquarters located in northern Colorado, this is the Hopheads Guide Podcast. I'm Matt Reber.
I'm Brown Jake. On this episode, we find out what's really in the box.
Show you in the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
Hey there, Hopheads and Beer Geeks. Welcome to another episode of the Hopheads Guide Podcast, brought to you by Beards by Nick. With me, as always, is the man who thinks that a balanced diet means a beer in each hand, Jake the Brown Guy.
IPA for salad, stout for dessert.
That is a balanced diet. That's very good.
That is very balanced.
Did you get that from your dietitian?
No, actually, a guy we work with calls every IPA he drinks, it's like drinking a salad. So I'm like, well, it does have hops in it. Hops are green. It's a salad.
All of these things are true. So what's going on, buddy? How you been?
Been doing pretty good. You know, we had the whole Thanksgiving weekend. Went down to Pueblo. I left the kids down there like we talked about last time. I think when we were recording, they're down there. So
Yeah.
hanging out, and didn't do any Black Friday shopping. Like item wise for gifts. Went to try to do some Black Friday beer shopping. And it was kind of my hidden gem always to get Goose Island, Bourbon County, has always been Big Bear in Pueblo, Colorado. And so I was like, hey, I'm up. They're going to open here in about a half an hour. I'll go down there and grab me a couple Bourbon Counties, because I'd like to eventually at one point have a 5-year vertical and then do a show where that's all we drink is that 5 years, and we go through them and we just see how they age. So I was like, well, I like to buy extra, so that way we could keep doing, hopefully eventually get in the routine. We could do that every year, you know? So I went to go buy at least 5. I get in there. Well, I go to the liquor store. There is nobody there. It's like a ghost town. And it's like 2 minutes before it opens. And I'm like, all right, well, it is Pueblo, Colorado. It's not big on the list for, Bourbon County. And I'm sitting there, and it rolls to 9 o'clock when they're supposed to open. I'm like, there's a lady in there, but the doors aren't needing to open. So I go and I stand by the door. And I'm like, hey, she finally creaks open the door and goes, can you do me a favor and go through the drive-thru? And I go, okay. She goes, well, I'm by myself, and it's not safe if I let you in. I go, ma'am, I'm from northern Colorado. I'm not a meth head from Pueblo. And I was like, and I came for one.
That's exactly what a meth head would say.
I came for one bottle of Bourbon, or I came for a couple bottles of Bourbon County. And she goes, oh, well, we're only doing one per person allotments. And I'm like, oh, crap, you guys are going to sell out. And I look around.
Probably a good thing then.
She goes, well, we only got half the amount that we got last year. I'm like, yeah, but you still have some of the bottles
that you had from last year.
She's like, well, yeah. And I was like, well, did you have at least half of those? So ended up going to the drive-thru, grabbed one. Had to text my sister, have her stop, grab one. And then me and my dad went by later, and we had a totally different girl. And so my dad tried to buy 2 of them, and the girl was like, no, sorry, it's one per person. And he was like, really? It's not like they're flying off the shelves. And she's like, well, that's what the owner says. I'm only supposed to sell one per person. So my dad goes, so if I came here earlier and bought one, you weren't supposed to sell me another one. And she goes, no, sir. Did you come earlier? And he goes, no. And I already purchased my second bottle. And he goes, but he did. And I'm like, I'm out. So, but I mean, that's one of the beers that has, I think, Black Friday with shopping and online shopping. And it seems like deals are all the time now for, TVs and stuff, that Black Friday is starting to turn towards that. Like, it's almost a beer thing now, and not, we got to go and get the $4 TV at Walmart. It's more of, I want to go get that rare, a barley wine stout mix that Liquid Mechanics makes, puts out. So
Right. Yeah, I think that the releases at liquor stores are probably going to die off slowly because the breweries have caught on and they're doing so many releases. There were a lot that I had a list, at least a page long, of beers that I would have liked to have gone and gotten on Black
yeah.
Friday. I didn't go get any of them. I wish I could have, but I mean, there was a large list of ones that I would have definitely jumped on had I been given the opportunity. So I think breweries have figured out the fact that if they do something special, they can put it into the Bourbon County Stout.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like last year, my parents came up for Thanksgiving, so me and my dad did the Wibby release, the Liquid Mechanics release, and then we went over to Something Brewery and did their release. And my dad had a great time. It was, so he was like, "Oh, is there anybody doing any releases in Pueblo?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." And I was like, that would probably be a key thing. Like the guy who makes the Pueblo Green Chili beer at Walters, I told him, I was like, "Are you guys going to be releasing some?" He goes, "Well, we thought about doing a small release at the beginning of October, and our next batch not holding off because when they did their batch in October, it sold out within like 8 hours, and they did a ton of cases of it." And so he was like, "Well, I was thinking of because we're going to up the cases. I was thinking of waiting until Black Friday and releasing it, but someone recommended to me that nobody wants to go drink beer during the day on Black Friday." And I was like, "Dude, have you
Why
not been?
wouldn't you?
Haven't you been to a brewery on Black Friday?"
You drop the ladies off at the store and you go to the bar.
Yeah.
That's how Black Friday works, right?
Drop them off at Walmart. I'll see you guys later.
You guys fight for a TV. I'm going to sit and have a beer. But, one thing you don't see with Black Friday is you don't see videos on YouTube of crazy riots of people fighting each other
no.
to get a Bourbon County or an Anarchy project from Liquid Mechanics.
Oh, yeah.
What you do see is crazy people trying to get a $4 TV from Walmart.
A mad rush through the door. That'd be funny if you just see like people like pushing against Liquid Mechanics door, like let us in. Well, I think, and it's that rare stuff that you want to try to get, but it's also fun because you're just you're seeing all these people going into all these department stores and the parking lot full at Costco's and Sam's Club and the malls, and you're going to a parking lot and you go into sometimes into a brewery and there's maybe like 20 people in there and it's nice and calm and they got Christmas music playing or the game on and it's just nice and relaxing. That knowing that you don't have to go mess with all that crap.
I don't ever want to mess with that.
I don't.
Stuff,
Yeah,
man.
I never.
There's nothing out there. There's no deal out there to me that is worth that much hassle.
Oh, no.
I'll pay a little extra to not have to deal with that stuff. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like people that much. So
yeah, I'd rather just sit at a brewery and drink a beer and just relax. I mean, we did that Friday. We just kind of hung out. We ended up coming back up on Friday, Black Friday, but it was kind of just nice just to kind of hang around the house a bit and not be too worried about like, oh, this deal, that deal, and all that stuff you could get online for the same price or even cheaper.
just wait till Cyber Monday.
Yeah.
And you can do it in the comfort of your home with your slippers on.
Yeah, half naked.
Or naked. If
depends
that's
on
your
what's
thing,
half.
you can do it. You can do it naked if you really
Well,
want
I
to.
usually, when I shop Cyber Monday, I usually Winnie the Pooh it. I feel comfortable that way when I shop.
I'm sure you do. You also podcast that way, which makes me feel uncomfortable.
Hey, the first time I took off my pants, you didn't say anything. Now you're complaining. So anything going on with you?
My days since the holidays has been pretty uneventful. I have just basically been recovering from all the food that I ate and drinking a lot of beer, and that's about it. I wanted to pick up a lot of those beers, and funny enough, I've managed to pick up a few of the beers that I wanted to just by stopping by the breweries, and they happen to have like a couple random bottles just sitting there. So I have managed to get a couple of the beers that I wanted to get anyway. I kind of feel like now if I went and hunted for a Bourbon County, I might actually be able to find one.
Yeah. I think that beer has probably lost its pull of its, Black Friday-ness. I was talking to our buddy out in Chicago, Aaron, and he was saying it's still insane out here. But it was ridiculous where you went to one liquor store and the only way you could get some of the extra different variants was you had to buy a minimum of this many bottles. And once you got that, you had to buy, when you went to the variants, you had to buy a certain amount. Like there was no.
So you had to buy like 4 of the just
regular
generic bourbon counties to get your vanilla or your barley wine.
And then, but it's not like you could choose, like, I just want the vanilla or barley one. You had to buy all the variants.
Wow.
And so he was like, yeah, but he goes, then you would go and hear people go into like Costco and they're like, oh yeah, Gary, go get what you want.
That tells me they made way too much of that beer if that was the case. Did you get the barley wine?
No, see, that's the whole thing. That's what I was amazed about. So Big Bear in Pueblo, we went to that beer fest. We talked about it on the beer podcast. I think they're probably sell the most Bud Light than any liquor store in Pueblo.
Right.
And so that's a big account for Anheuser-Busch. I thought they would have 1 or 2 in the variants because last year they had 2 of them.
They didn't have the vanilla or the barley
They didn't
wine.
have either one of those.
Wow.
So I was hoping to get at least, my plan was at least get 3 bourbon counties and hopefully 1 or 2 of the variants.
Right.
I went there and they're like 1 per person. Oh, I go, probably the variants. Okay, I'm fine with that. I'll just have to pick which one. But they're like, no, of the bourbon county. I'm like, what? I was like, you guys probably make a shit ton of money. And I go, you're doing this the wrong way. You should have been like, we want the variants.
Right.
And not, oh, here's your bourbon county allotment.
We want to be like
fine.
the exclusive. Everybody knows, well, Big Bear is where I got to go if I want to get the variants. I wonder if part of it isn't people are actually starting to become educated enough that they're realizing that, okay, well, this is big beer.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the guys that are standing in line for it know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're very aware. But I wonder if it's now becoming kind of one of those like, I don't want to be the one that runs into my buddy standing in line. Like,
yeah.
you don't want to be seen kissing your sister type thing. So it's one of those things where it's like, I think that there's this like, well, I want to get it. I want to drink it. I want to try it, but I don't want to actually be seen buying it. So I'm not going to show up on the day that everybody else is going to be there to buy
Why do you think I buy it in Pueblo? Nobody knows me there.
But then you talk about it on the podcast.
I know, but they don't know what I look like.
That's true. There's a lot of hairy gorilla looking dudes out there. It could be any one of them.
Oh, there's Brownie.
Oh, no, wait. That's... Oh, crap.
No. I think I'm with you. What I could see this, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 years down the road, and it's going to take one of those Chicago breweries that does a big release that just everybody's like, why am I going to Benny's and standing in line and doing all this stuff?
Right.
And why am I not just standing in line at, Revolution and getting their Darth Star variants, which for me, that beer in a can is probably one of the best barrel aged or bourbon barrel aged beers I've ever tasted.
Yeah.
And I want to try to get some for the show, but that's where I see Bourbon County going. I see it in the next 2 years. It's out of the bottle, it's in cans, and it's probably only a seasonal release in December. But you could go buy a 6-pack of it at any liquor store,
right,
and take that home.
I'd be cool with that. I would love that. I'd love to see it in a 4-pack or in a 16-ounce can. I mean, they already make a lot of their beers in a 16-ounce form, so why not throw Bourbon County in that? I mean,
they're doing the 16-ounce bottles. They're a little bit bigger. They're bigger than 12-ounce. I think they're 14-ounce bottles or something like that. But it's a 13% alcohol beer. So if you're not having a cap saver or not sharing it, some people, hey man, this is my one beer of the night. I'll pop it open. But I have now been starting to tend towards stouts, but I still have a ton of IPAs in the fridge. So to try to help my stout problem that I'm having, I'm opening a one and I'm using my cap saver, and I'm like just drinking. I'm getting my taster glasses are getting used. I'm just filling up a taster glass and I'm pouring me an IPA and I drink my stout. And once I'm done, I go to my IPA.
So you're clearing out the IPAs, but you're still getting your stout fix, basically.
Yeah. But I'm also knocking down my stout problem because I'm popping them open. But they're staying good. So I'm amazed with the little cap saver is it actually works really well. I've actually had a bottle where I popped open on Monday that I went to go drink some more on Friday, and it was like the last part of the bottle, and it was perfectly fine. It didn't taste flat or anything. It still tasted like the day I opened it.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. Gotta love those pop and stops, man. They come in handy.
Oh yeah.
You can purchase those pops and stops at our store. Did you know that?
No way.
Yeah, we have a store. We have a website on the interwebs.
On the interweb.
And you can go to thehotpedsguide.com, click on the store, and there's pop and stops on there.
Yeah. Now we do a Cyber Monday deal, but we don't do it on the Monday you're thinking of.
Yeah. It's just on a Monday.
It's on a Monday. So be prepared.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Any day now.
It may be next Monday. It may be the Monday after. It may not be till next year.
And it may not even be on a Monday. It might be a Wednesday. But it'll still be a Cyber Monday.
It'll be a Cyber Monday deal on a Wednesday. Have you ever seen one of those?
Yeah. That's the new thing.
Yeah,
that's the next new thing.
Well, my understanding, the Black Friday was going on since November 1st. And I was
yeah.
I was like, well, if it's Black Friday now, I'm just going to be drinking because it's the day after Thanksgiving and I don't have to work.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you still have to go to work, but it's Black Friday.
Yeah. My wife had a couple of things that she had picked out that she's like, oh, I'm just going to wait and see if they go on sale on Black Friday. And I think it was like the Tuesday before, I just happened to see I was just kind of going through different sales and stuff and saw that the exact thing that she wanted was already on sale for Black Friday. And I was like, well, we can just go get it now, or you can go fight the crowds. And she was like, yeah, let's just go get it.
Yeah,
let's just get it done.
Let's just get it taken care of.
Yeah.
So that's good. Do we need another beer?
Yeah. I actually have a Bourbon County cold if we want to drink one.
We can.
Well, I figure since we're talking about Bourbon County, why don't we just go ahead and open up a Bourbon County? This one was one that, of course, you gave me because I don't buy Bourbon County. I just wait for somebody to give it to me.
Well, I think that's so my parents use it as like a gift to me. So I kind of regift for you.
You're a regifter?
Yeah, so they bought me one year, I think it was that 2015 year. They bought me like 9 bottles. And I was like, I told you just to pick up a couple. And they're like, well, they only had 9 left. So I was like, well, okay. And so they've kind of always gotten me more than what I need. So if I have a 15. So
what
15,
exactly
16,
is
17,
that number?
18.
More than you need.
5 has always been.
That's a good number.
Yeah. So I think I have a 14. So technically we can, if I could make sure I have a 14, we could do a 5-year.
I might have a 14.
You might have a 14?
I'll have to look. So this 15 was hopefully one of the good ones.
Yeah. I think almost October was the...
Yeah. This one was September 29th, which is my birthday.
Yep.
And I had chilled this one to drink on my 40th birthday. But unfortunately, we drank too much bourbon that night to dig into any Bourbon County. And so by the time it came around where I was like, oh yeah, I got a Bourbon County in there I wanted to open up, it was already too late. I had already been bourbon barrel aged myself, so
nice. Okay, it's still holding up.
So this is the 2015, and it's not infected, which is good. So
oh yeah, because some of those infected bottles you could tell like
as soon as it hit your nose,
God.
It was obvious.
Didn't we try one on the show? I was like, let's just pop it open an infected bottle, and we both go, yeah,
we did. I think we ended up cutting it from the show though, just because it was it was that bad. Yeah. But yeah, it's still got some great. I love the oils that build up on the top of this thing because they spend so much time in the barrels. And I don't care. Ooh, that's boozy. I don't care about the bad stigma. I'll still drink it in my basement with my friend.
But I won't go out and buy any.
But I won't go out in public and buy any of it. So tomorrow, by the time you're listening to this podcast, it's already going to be too late, but I feel like we still have to talk about it. The Media Noche release that's happening tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
So tomorrow is December 1st, and WeldWerks is releasing their bourbon brandy barrel aged Media Noche.
That was Breckenridge bourbon.
Breckenridge bourbon barrels, along with their peanut butter.
Yeah,
Media Noche.
Peanut butter cup Media Noche.
Yes, and peanut butter cup Media Noche. Whatever, I've had it. It's great.
Well, it also was ranked the top beer at the Great American Beer Festivals. That was of beers being poured.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
So that alone is going to create a lot of mad rush to get the tickets to buy it. They've decided that they're going to do it a little differently. They're going to do an Eventbrite ticket, and then you get to pick up your bottles whenever.
Yeah. But you don't pay for them. It's a free ticket.
Right.
So you're pretty much holding your place in line
Right.
without having to go stand in line. But
Yeah.
you don't have to pay for them right now. So they want your money at the brewery.
So I think part of the problem is they now that they own the entire city of Greeley,
Yeah.
they want to spread that money out a little bit. Instead of having $1 billion day, they want to have like $1 billion month
Okay.
and just kind of spread that money out a little bit because it's important, when you're sheltering taxes and income and things like that,
yeah.
that you spread it out a little bit, especially towards the end of the year. You don't want to have too much at the end of the year. I mean, I'm no accountant. I'm just assuming that this was like how they were advised.
Like you're gonna get. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get all the peanut butter cup Media Noches and we're gonna hide them
Throughout the city.
Throughout the city, and people have to go to certain merchants and buy certain things, and they get it with it.
Yeah.
But they don't get the bottle; they get the ticket to come back here to buy the bottle.
It's like, and if you get the golden ticket, you get to tour the Media Noche factory.
Oh, the Media Noche with a bunch of Oopa Roopas.
And you get to bring your infirmed grandfather. I think we've added a whole new twist to the WeldWerks factory.
Watch the next releases. It's like, as we heard the golden ticket's a promising thing, we decided to help out the city of Greeley, which we own.
The evil Oompa Loompas.
So
But I'm gonna be up tomorrow morning. I'm gonna make sure that at 10 o'clock I'm there getting my ticket because I will go ahead and buy the peanut butter cup, but I'm more excited about the bourbon brandy barrel aged. Anything in a Breckenridge barrel gets me excited.
oh yeah, and brandy gets me excited all the fucking time.
So I don't think it's the brandy you're thinking of.
oh, it's the brandy
She's-
I'm thinking of.
She's much older now and has like kids and is not. She doesn't look the same as she did when we were in high school.
She's well aged, like most brandies.
So true.
No,
I think this beer's gonna be
yeah.
probably off the charts.
Yeah,
Like,
hopefully it's unaffected because that would fucking suck.
well, they're not putting any vanilla in it, so that's
Yeah.
good. So, and Nick has only been in charge of the barrel aging program for like a month now.
So if it comes out unaffected, he's fired.
I'm still blaming him no matter what.
You better hope this beard fucking oil thing takes off, Nick, if you fuck this one up. And I'm with you. Like, so the funny part was we saw the thing. I went and told my wife. So we've gotten peanut butter cup aromatic every single time it's come out.
Achromatic.
Achromatic, whatever. Every time it's come out, and my wife loves that beer. Actually, I think I still have 2 bottles from the last release in my refrigerator.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So it doesn't taste like peanut butters anymore.
Oh no, it's like heavier.
Really?
It kind of gets heavier with age.
Interesting. Usually peanut butter falls out pretty well.
That's what I thought with it. And when the first release, we bought a couple bottles, and I hid one like in the back, and it was already months after. And I was like, "Well, do you want to pop it open?" And
So you were getting ready for the great peanut butter Medianoche hunt of 2019 or 2018.
And I was like, "All right, let's just try it." And man, it tasted still like on point, even heavier. And so I even went to her and I'm like, "Oh, did you see what well was?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Whoa, they want $34 for one bottle of it." And this is the first time she ever, that's not worth it. I look at her like, "Wait, one, you haven't bought a beer since you're like 32. 2, what do you mean it's not worth it?" Yeah, it's probably it's probably not worth it.
Yeah.
But the brandy one is worth it.
Yeah, I'm guessing that one's going to be a little more expensive.
I think it's 32 and 34.
They can have my money.
Yeah.
I will pay for that one. Normally I'm like, oh, that's too expensive. I'm not going to do it. But this one is one that I am going to do it. I'm going to drink it.
Who in this room's bought a $50 bottle of Medianoche?
I'm not holding my hand up for those of you at home. They don't.
So
They can't see.
that was infected. That tasted like the worst beer pot. I had to switch from beer to whiskey to get that taste out of my mouth that night.
And not like barrel-aged whiskey, like
Oh
straight
no, the straight shitty shit.
White Lightning.
The stuff I give guests when they come over. They're like, "Oh, you got some Johnny Walker?" I'm like, "Yeah, let me pour you a glass." Nope, this is not Johnny Walker.
The stuff you put in the truck whenever it runs out of gas.
Yep, to clean out the engine.
So WeldWorks also they also announced the date of their 2019 Invitational this week. That's going to be July
29th? 22nd?
Yeah, it's going to be July 22nd. And
I would say get your rooms, but I've already heard that the DoubleTree in Greeley is already sold out.
Really?
No, I'm just joking. That would be fucking insane.
No, I mean, dude, I wouldn't. It would not surprise me at all. Like when you said that, I totally believed you. There was not even a hesitation of no, that can't possibly be true.
Have you seen the Southwest commercial for it? It's like, want to get away? Except to Greeley, we're gonna triple times you.
Maybe we can Airbnb our houses for that weekend.
Dude, I bet you we could. And Uber them there with the I think you could, if you could set up a thing, people would buy it, dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, June 22nd is going to be the Invitational. I reached out to WeldWorks to see if they wanted to give us any little teasers or tidbits, and they basically told me, fuck off.
Like,
We ain't telling you shit.
technically, the text said, "New phone, who dis?" Well, the one thing I love about craft beer, even if it's big beer, small beer, medium-sized beer, black beer, white beer, the brown beer down the corner, is when somebody needs help, they're all willing to put in. And because of the fires that are going out in California, the campfire
They are actually starting to go out now. So
yeah, they're actually stopping.
They got some rain, so it's helping out.
So after the past 6 months, Sarah Nevada came up with this great idea, and I read the article when it first came out, thinking, "Oh, this is a great idea." I don't know how many people would actually, breweries would jump onto this. So they came up with the beer, and a lot of breweries do this. Hey, we're going to come up with this beer for a fundraiser, and all proceeds from the beer will go to this fundraiser. Well, they did it, and then they said, "Hey, any brewery out there that wants this recipe that will do the same thing we want to share this. Use the same name, here's the same recipe, brew this beer, but we want to make sure that all the sales of this beer go back to the Campfire Relief Fund." And I was amazed by the response. Right now, there's over 1,000 breweries that are jumping in on this.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I was like, holy crap. And this was in a short matter of time. I remember reading it, I think it was around the day before Thanksgiving. And it's already been, 5 days and 6 days, and there's 1,000 breweries.
Wow.
So they're actually put out there like, okay, well, we're gonna do a cutoff date of December 7th of any breweries that want to sign on because there's so many, and they're doing a great job, but they're trying to keep track of all of them. And if you go to their website, they actually have this cool freaking map where you could see where all the breweries are at. There's 2 in Hawaii, 3 in Alaska. There's a couple in Europe that are doing it.
Really?
Yeah. So they're sharing their recipe. They just want to make sure they get enough funds raised for the campfire fire relief fund. So I thought this was an awesome idea. I mean, you could go in and anytime I go into a brewery and they're doing some kind of fundraiser, I pitch in, but it's usually something local. And then this stuff, I usually will donate something online, but this way I could be donating while I'm drinking beer.
That's even better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, gotta love it, man. And you said so. There's quite a few Northern Colorado breweries that have participated in this.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was amazed. Like I thought this was just going to be big breweries. So Sierra Nevada is a big brewery.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of them.
Oh, just maybe 1 or 2 times. So I thought it was just going to be the big players like New Belgium. I was for sure thinking because they like to give away money.
It's true.
And maybe Odell's. So when I was looking, I was amazed. Old Colorado Brewery. We interviewed them last year. They're doing it. Horse and Dragon, Gilded Goat. So there was like 10 in Fort Collins. Timnath, you're just out there.
Yeah.
They jumped in on it. Our friends down at City Star jumped in on it. Nobody Greeley has jumped in on it. Oh, thanks for jumping in, Town of Greeley. I mean, WeldWorks. So it's kind of amazed that I'm like seeing all these breweries. Now I'm going back to Facebook and make sure I'm following these people to see when they release this beer because I want to see what it tastes like.
Yeah, I want to try all the different variants.
Yeah.
I mean, especially it being, they're handing out the recipe, and based on what you said about the recipe, they're handing out the recipe, but it's just kind of a general recipe, and everybody gets to kind of do their own take on it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited just to go around and try a few different variants of it, especially since there's so many right here in our area.
Yeah.
And just see what it's like.
Yeah.
Just see what one guy's doing compared to the other.
Yeah. And every beer you're drinking, it's going to a good, good fundraiser right there. And it's, you're helping out right there. But I thought it was a great idea. I was like, well, hopefully they, Sierra Nevada bottle some of their stuff. And if I see it in the liquor store, I'll buy a case of it or a 12-pack if I can. And, but seeing it pop up now, I'm like, holy crap, I kind of want to try this one. And as breweries are popping up and joining in, I was like, oh, I can't wait till this guy does it and this guy does it. And, planning out a day route to seeing, to try out those beers.
Yeah. And, we experience wildfires here in Colorado every year. In sometimes multiple fires happening at one time. But I do not ever remember a fire here in Colorado that has created as much devastation as the campfire in California.
Yeah.
And the fact that people from Colorado who understand it, they get it. They know people or have seen people lose their homes and property. I personally have lost my home to 2 fires, not forest fires, but fires. And people jumping in and supporting and giving support to a cause like this, I think is great, especially whenever you see so many different breweries from all over jumping in to help. And like you said, you get to taste some beer and help.
Yeah.
So, and we want to help as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we have our new Patreon page that allows you to support us as a podcast. But we've also we're going to change that up. And if you go onto Patreon / the Hopheads, you can, instead of clicking on become a patron, go down to the bottom and click on make a custom pledge. And any custom pledges that are made between now and the end of the year, we're going to send directly to that fund as well. So if anybody would like to help and support, you can do that on our website, and we'll make sure that it gets to the right place, because we want to do our part, since all the breweries that we love so much are doing a little too.
Yeah, because our part is going to those breweries and drinking that beer.
Yeah, one way or another, we're going to be supporting, whether you give us money or not. We're going to be spending money at those breweries. So we'll probably end up matching anything that goes in there, just for the fact that we're going to be buying so much beer.
And especially if it tastes really good, we'll be like, wait. Yours is way better Odell's. Bullshit. Let's go back to Odell's and try that.
Let's go back to Odell's.
And if you don't know, the best nation on the planet is donations, and we'll be drinking the beer and letting you guys know if they happen in your area, if they're going to be doing this beer, and you could get it to us. We'd appreciate it.
And that's on Sierra Nevada's website, right? Yep. You can go and look at it.
Resilience. Let me see. Resilience Butte County Proud IPA.
There'll be a link in the show notes. So if you want to click on the link in the show notes, that'll take you. And like I said, just go to make a custom pledge, and any of the custom pledges that are made over the next or all the way through December, we're going to make sure that those get sent to a good cause. So today's episode is about the Battle of the Beer Shippers. So we, about 3 months ago, I said to Jake, I want to battle some beer shipping boxes.
And I was like, that's a great idea. You get one, I get one. We go across the room, we run straight at each other, and we see who survives. 2 box enter, 1 box leave. And he's like, no, you dumbass.
That's not what I meant.
I want to get something out there and get the listeners involved and find out which is the best box. And I was like, wait, that's how you find out what the best box is. Because if a box could survive being smashed between us, it should be champion.
It's not a battle royale, dude. It's just to see which one can handle the punishment of shipping beers nationwide.
And I was like, that's a good idea. That's a great idea.
And it was a good idea until I actually went through and started doing it. And then I realized it wasn't that good of an idea. Organizing something like this was ridiculous. But so the first thing I did is I purchased two of probably the more popular beer shippers that I've seen out there. One of them is Beer Shippers from beershippers.com, and the other one being Whale Pod. I think probably most of the listeners have heard of both of those shippers. Whale Pod's Instagram is ridiculous. I mean, they're all over the place. So,
well, because they probably had 2 fat guys get one of their boxes and run right at each other.
Now we're doing it. We have extra boxes.
Hey man, after this Bourbon County, I'll be ready to go. It's cold enough outside. I won't feel it until tomorrow.
So for our Patreon listeners,
you may get a
you're going to have some extra
tomorrow.
video coming up of 2 fat guys really hurting themselves. But so the first thing we did was we took these beer shippers, and you took the beer shipper.
Yep.
And I took the Whale Pod.
Yep.
And we just shipped them out and had somebody ship us beers back, just to kind of get a feel of ease of packaging, how they work, and just kind of what's like the cost of shipping it.
Yeah.
And
I did the video.
You did your video,
on the Facebook page showing the packing and going through the process of taking care of that, and we got probably just a little feedback off that. But I mean, if anybody is a true trader, you want to know how the box is going to hold up over multiples of time.
Right. Yeah.
You want to make sure if I'm getting the back, I could also pack it right back up and send it to my BTF in Tennessee. And once he sends it back, I want to be able to pack that up and send it to my BTF in Portland.
Yeah, right.
So you want to make sure it's going to hold up. And especially if you're doing cross country. If you're like, I'm in Portland, now I got to send this to Maine, and I want to make sure it makes that long trip. This was, I thought, yeah, this is a great idea to find out a shipper, because I was getting tired of always looking for bubble wrap, keeping Amazon boxes around.
Bubbles, yeah. The bubble pillow things.
Yeah, so, and I was happy that, to just have something that did cans and was ready to go, because I'm sorry to say, but bottles are slowly becoming obsolete, and cans is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're shipping whales,
Yeah.
and, no pun intended on the whale shipper, and unless you're shipping, like, big bottles and you're one of those guys that's trading for whales, most of the time you're shipping cans. I mean, I don't care where it is, nationwide, you have most breweries that are they're canning in 16 ounce or 12 ounce cans.
Yeah.
And that's the way that they're distributing. You guys still have a few that are doing crowlers, but for the most part it's 16 ounce cans.
Yeah.
So the fact that each one of these shippers is really made for 16 ounce cans, I saw that as a test of what most shippers are doing now.
So, you set up an Eventbrite, right?
Yeah, so after we did our one-on-one trades, we kind of got some feedback, and I decided, you know what? I don't think this was enough of a test, because the original plan was you and I were going to ship these out a couple times, ship them back, and see how they did.
Yeah.
Well, when I got mine back, I was like, well, okay, I don't think this was enough of a test. I shipped it to Connecticut and back.
Yeah.
I got it back. I was like, okay, great. Still looks pretty good, but I want to know what this thing looks like after going to, my buddy in Texas.
Yeah, and if we were going to
Then my buddy in Iowa. Then my buddy in California.
Yeah, but if we were to do that, that's costing us a shit ton of money and a shit ton of beer.
And it would be months and months.
Yeah. So like me, I try to do a shipping budget when even with my PTFs. Like if it's, I'm not going to be sending to my buddy in Philadelphia 4 times a month. I'm going to probably send him a shipment once every other month, you know?
Right.
And to try to get the where, we had to come up with something where we're doing all the shipping.
Yeah. And so what I did is I created a trading event. And now that I've done this, I'm excited to do some more trading events with our Hopheads and Beer Geeks, because it was fun to kind of interact with these guys and get to know them and find out where we have different listeners at. And it was fun to have them participate in something that we were doing for research. So for the guys that did participate in this trading event, we thank you for all your help, because not only did they ship all of the beer on time, every single guy did it quickly, packaged it well, but they also responded to our survey, which gave us a lot of input on which one was going to win the battle royale of the two fat guys smashing into each other. So
That still would have probably been way better.
So we appreciate everybody's help for helping us with this. So basically, what we did is we decided to take each beer shipper and send them to 5 different states, and then back to us. And so you had the beer shipper.
I had the beer shipper,
the styrofoam shipper,
Yep.
and I had the whale pod.
Yep.
And basically, the idea was it was going to be like a chainmail event.
Yeah.
To where I send it to my guy, he sends it to the next guy, and it's all blind. So they don't know who they're getting beer from or where they're sending beer to. All they know is they're getting a box of 12 beers.
Yep.
And to me, that made the event interesting and fun all by itself. So let's talk first about let's talk a little bit first about the whale pod.
Okay.
Because you you originally sent the whale pod to your BTF.
Yep, Scott.
And so what you did your videos, but I mean, what were kind of some of the things that you noticed about the whale pod that you liked, some of your dislikes?
So when it came up, the pieces were pretty good. It was pretty straightforward. But if you watch the video, at one point I go, wait a minute. And I kind of went back a bit and was like, okay, yeah, you have to do this. Because that was actually the second take of the video. The first time I was like, okay, wait, I think I did something wrong. So it doesn't seem right. And I had to go take everything back out and re-record. So even though it comes with instructions, I felt it a little bit complicated. I did only ship all 16-ounce cans. So with the little knob inserts that they have on there so you could go to 12-ounce,
Right.
I wasn't too worried about them. I saw them in there and I thought, hey, this is cool, but I didn't have to use them, so I didn't want to check to see how well they worked. Everything broke down really well. I like the style of their box where it folds over and has the little flaps that go in. But it also felt like when I held it, it felt like it needed to go into another box. But I was like, nope, you told me that's how it's supposed to ship. So I taped that lip down and I sent it off and I got it the same way. You know, Scott didn't put it in a different box. He just do it, here you go.
So the whale pod basically is a so first off, when I ordered the whale pods, I ordered a box of 2, and they came in a flat box.
Yeah.
They came in a really flat rectangular box and came completely disassembled. So we literally had to pull the pieces out, make sense of, make sure that we had 2 complete boxes to send you on your way with your complete box. And then I kind of agree with you that the instructional video that's on their website, it's really quick, and it just goes like, fold this, fold this. And then there's also instructions on the box that says, fold tab A until fold B.
C,
yeah.
And it's kind of like watching that Domino's commercial where the guy's making boxes over and over again.
Yeah.
When you watch that video, it's like, holy shit, this guy could probably make 30 boxes in a second, because he's like, you take this, you roll it in, there you go, you're ready to ship. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Like, I still have this piece. What is this piece doing? Like, is this the bottom? Is this the top?
Yeah.
Is this the side? What do you mean? So I'm with you. The video, like, awesome that they have a video and they came up with that idea to do that. But I would probably take time, break it down if you can, put like a diagram in there or showing the pieces, folding without somebody's fat hand in the way. Sorry for the guy who did the video, but I would have probably did it better that way. But it was kind of like I did watch the video like 4 times.
Yeah.
And like I said, like I did it once and I went back and watched the video again and then was like, oh, wait, I did this wrong, and unpacked it and reshot my video again.
Right. Yeah. So basically the whale pod is an oversized shoebox is the best way is the way I would recommend.
Unless you're
would
Shaq.
kind of describe it. Yeah. It's basically a Shaq's shoebox with some foam inserts. And I think the unique thing about it, and I think probably why they call it the whale pod, is because the tabs that you mentioned. It has, it's made for a 16-ounce can.
Yeah.
However, it has 12 individual tabs that you can fold up that allow you to put in 12-ounce cans along with your 16-ounce cans, so that they stay a little bit more stable. And I think the reason they call it the whale pod is because these little tabs look like whale tails.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the whale tail that you're showing right now off the back of your seat because you're wearing a thong. I'm talking it looks like a whale's tail.
You told me I couldn't take off my pants, so the only way I could be comfortable is if I wear a thong.
I get it. So, and it reminds me of the Craftex box. It's almost identical to the Craftex box that I was getting when I was doing the Craftex beer mail thing. That was like the first thing that I thought when I saw
Which
it.
I think we'd probably be the #1 podcast if they kept going and doing graphics.
Yeah.
Because some of the funniest episodes I remember listening to from last year
Big meat.
was our Craft X reviews. So, but I'm with you on that one. Like I even said, I was like, so there's not a box I put this in?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you're like, no, that's how you're supposed to
That's
ship it.
it,
I'm like,
yeah.
are you sure?
Yeah. And it does seem flimsy, but surprisingly enough, the beers are well protected.
Yeah.
Even though there's no dividers or anything, the beers are rubbing up right against
Yeah.
each other. The beers stay well protected. Now, I like another thing that I like about the Whale Pod is they put a little map of the United States on the lid so that you can mark where your beer box has been.
Yeah.
Really unique idea. Guys used it whenever we did the event.
Oh, really?
Guys, each guy marked where where they were at. So to me, I thought that was a really neat.
That'd actually be pretty cool. Like if you did a big, like if you like off of when we did shipping beer was one of our episodes. If we actually did this through their Facebook page and actually try to do like all 50 states
Right.
and just had as it marked off, you find somebody in a different state. So it wasn't a blind draw. You had to seek out somebody in a different state. So if you had a BTF, all those popular states would probably get knocked off. But then you're like, oh, crap. I got to find somebody in Arkansas now because there's 3 states left.
Yeah.
So actually using that would be actually pretty cool. But having the last person send it back to you so you could put that up on your wall, that would be kind of cool. Everything marked off and be like, well, is that all the states you've been to? It was like, no, that box has been
That
on.
box has been to all those states. I've only been to 2 states, but my box has been to all 50 states. So the way we did the trading event was we tried to do it in regions. So we did
Yeah.
a Western region, a Midwest region, an Eastern region, and a Pacific region. So basically,
Pacific or
it was
specific?
specifically a Pacific region.
Okay.
Which basically we kind of included Washington, Oregon, California, in that region because we figured that including the whole West was a little too much of a region when it comes to craft beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it worked out pretty well. We got someone from every region for each group, which worked out really well, I think. And so the boxes got to travel a long way.
You counted the miles.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah. So total the Whale Pod, and of course everything's gone. So the Whale Pod traveled 6,891 miles total. The beer shipper traveled 6,746 miles total. Which, I mean, that's across 5 states,
doing pretty
through
good.
6 different people. That's pretty freaking awesome.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's a hell of a trip for 2 boxes. And the whole event took about a month and a half to do.
Yeah. Because I remember you're going, you should probably be getting your box soon. And I was like, already?
Yeah, it really went quick.
Yeah, because I remember doing Beer Forward on the Beer Swapper website. I signed up for that 2 years ago or 3 years ago because I was the original person with the beer box.
Right.
And it was more of my beer box was made for bombers. So it was mostly made for wine, but you could put crowlers in it. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll sign up. And it took forever. I think I sent that out at the beginning of September, and it was only supposed to be a 6-person route. I didn't get it back until like the end of February.
I did that same event, and that one took forever.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I mean, that's another reason why I appreciate our listeners so much. I think they got what we were trying to accomplish with it.
Yeah, we wanted it
And
back right away.
Everybody was quick. I think, pretty much everybody was either quicker or well within the 1 week limit that we were putting on everything, which, again, I appreciate a lot. That was very helpful for us to get not only the data that we needed to do this the right way, but also to, make the trade event work well for our listeners. You said some of the cons of the whale pod were that it felt flimsy.
Yep.
The tabs, you didn't even really need to use the tabs.
Yeah, I with me putting it together and feeling how the sides, like when I went to go, you're supposed to just trim the two sides and they're supposed to stay together. Well, in my video, they popped right apart. So I just put them, left side, right side, back side, front side. They weren't even connected together, and then I just threw beer into it.
Okay.
So I didn't even want to jack with trying to use those little whale pod little inserts.
Right. So I ended up having to use the foldable tabs.
Okay.
That because I sent 3 12-ounce beers to the person I was trading with. And I got really frustrated because I folded the tab up. I got all my 16-ounce beers, and I figured, all right, I'm going to put all my 16-ounce beers on the outside and then put my 12-ounce beers on the kind of center middle part of it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I flipped that first tab, it snapped right off. And so I was like, all right, well, no problem. I'll just put a 16-ounce beer there, and I'll put the 12-ounce beer in the next tab. And I went to flip the little tab, and that one snapped off. And I did that 3 times before I finally found a tab that didn't snap off. And then I had to do that multiple other times. So I just kind of had these random 12-ounce beers peppered in between all the 16-ounce beers because that's where they had to go because the little tabs kept snapping off. And I didn't have the same problem that you had with it breaking, but I think I got lucky the first time I folded it and folded it the right direction.
Okay.
Because if you do fold that, so what we're talking about is the foam inserts that go around the outside of the perimeter of the box.
Yeah.
If you fold those inserts the wrong way, they just snap.
Oh, yeah.
And I got lucky the first time I folded them, and so I folded them the right direction, and so they didn't snap.
Yeah.
So the next one I was like, okay, I need to be very aware of how I do it. But I almost did the same thing you did where I was looking at it and I was like, okay, it goes this way. But if I had folded it the way I originally was going to, I think they would have snapped as well.
And that's the whole bad part. I was doing it based off the video. The guy did
Right.
it so
Yeah.
quick that I was
did
like,
the same
oh,
thing.
yeah, you just go to... And I was like, oh, shit. He didn't show this on the video.
Yeah. So that's kind of some of our thoughts of the whale pod were the pros and cons of the whale pod.
What do the listeners think? Or the people of the event?
So the people that use the whale pod, one of the comments that I got from it was one of the only reasons I found the whale pod to be restricting is in the sense that it couldn't fit 12-ounce bottled beer. I execute more trades than the average bear and like the ease of unpacking and then repacking this box. It probably limits the trade to cans, which, yes, it does. That's fairly obvious.
I thought we said that. In the
Yeah. It only most cans, although it was able to fit a short, stubby 12-ounce bottle of beer, and which it did because this is probably the person that I got my beer from because I did have a little short, stubby 12-ounce bottle of beer in there. So I think what he's trying to say is he found it to be restricting that it was only for cans. And based on some of the other comments he made, so one of the questions we asked was, did you find it restricting that the package is only designed for 16 or 12-ounce cans? And he said yes. And, maybe I should just say all the questions that we asked. So the questions that we asked the participants was, did the package arrive damaged? Did any of the cans appear to be damaged from transport? How would you rate the overall size of the box compared to other 12 beer shipments that you have received? And we rated it on a 1 is, how did this thing ever fit in the truck? To a 5, which is, meh, I've seen bigger. And basically, I was trying to get an idea of. I have shipped 12 beers before, and the box ends up being a freaking 15 by 15 box
Yeah.
because I've put so much packing in there that I've made the box way oversized, and really I've only got a 12 pack of beer in there.
Yeah.
So the fact that these boxes are really small and fit 12 beers to
And
me
you like
is
it.
very handy.
It's like buying a case from the grocery store.
It is. It's about the same
Like-
size.
Wow, 12 beers are in there when you get, and you've gotten cases that way.
Right.
You're like, holy crap, this thing is 24 by 24. How much beer did you send me? Oh, 12.
So another question we asked is, how would you rate the ease of packaging this shipper to send out? And did you find it restricting that the package is designed for 16 and 12 ounce cans? And then at an average of $16 per box, would you purchase this packaging to use for future? I got to say that again without burping. At an average of $16 per box, would you purchase this packaging to use for future purchases? Future shipments. Apparently, the Bourbon County has gotten to me. At an average of $16 per box, would you purchase this packaging to use for future shipments? What is your overall rating of this shipper? And then just comments. So basically, we were trying to get an idea of, was it too big? Was it too expensive? And how easy was it to package?
Yep.
And was anything damaged?
Yeah. Because that's the key thing. If you're sending beer and you come back, you're like, oh, the beer I got from another guy, there's a couple dents. And then he sends it off, and that guy reviews it, goes, man, some of the beer I got had a couple dents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one of the problems we had with the Craft X box. A lot of those
beers
beers
came
were
jacked up.
really jacked up. So, some of the other comments were concerns about the overall structure of the box, and they liked how easy it was to package. They liked that they could fold the tabs over to put in 12-ounce beers, but they didn't like that the box felt flimsy, kind of like the way you were describing, that they felt like that the box could have been a little bit more sturdy. And they also said that they would have liked to have seen it be even more adjustable, to where they could throw a crowler in with some 16-ounce cans or something like that. And, I mean, a crowler's a little bit taller than 16-ounce cans, and I think with that foam that's in there in the whale pod, the fact that foam is pretty flexible,
Yeah.
I think you could probably get a crowler in there if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you could probably drop, the way you length down, but maybe they're saying if there's tabs on the side that you'd flip out just to get that little extra room where the crowler would sit on its side and not go back and forth. And then you'd probably only be able to throw another 4 16-ounce cans in there. But at least, that is still a crowler you're sending to somebody. And, that's sometimes, depending on what beer it is, worth its weight in gold.
Right.
So,
Yeah. All right. So for the whale pod, the whale pod had an average rating overall of 8 out of 10. On the question of how would you rate the overall size of the box, it averaged a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
On the question of how would you rate the ease of packaging, it rated a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
And did you find it restricting that the packaging was only designed for 16-ounce cans? This is kind of a overall. I didn't break that down by one or the other. Overall, 80% of the people decided no. Doesn't matter whether it's the whale pod or the beer shipper. 80% of the people that used both felt like the fact that it was just for 16-ounce cans was not restricting at all.
Okay.
Which I kind of agree with.
Yeah, and I think that's where when we were talking about doing this event, you're like, well, I want to do this so many ounces. I was like, well, I'm worried that we're going to send this box somewhere and they don't have 16-ounce cans.
Right.
But obviously, that's not a problem,
So the person that I sent my first shipment to was in Missouri, and he signed up for it and basically sent me a message back right away and was like, so I signed up, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to find a whole lot of 16-ounce cans. Breweries in this area just don't package in 16-ounce cans. And he's in southern Missouri. And my first thought was like, well, no, I know that a lot of breweries in St. Louis package in 16-ounce cans.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have any problem. But after he did some searching, he was like, oh, it was fun for him because he went out and explored some new breweries that he didn't even realize were packaging in 16-ounce cans.
Yeah.
And so he went out and kind of explored outside of like his little circle and found out that there were a lot of breweries that were packaging in 16-ounce cans that he didn't even realize. So that I thought was kind of a fun way for our listeners and some of the people that participated in this. It got them out and got them exploring some of the breweries in their area. So the last question that we asked, and this one was the one that I was the most concerned about, because at an average of $16 per box, I felt like that was going to be a little too expensive. Basically, each one that I bought is $16. Whale Pod is $12 and they charge you $4 for shipping. Beer Shipper is $11 or $12 or is $11 and they charge you $5 for shipping.
Okay. And theirs is because of the foam insert. I could see why.
Right. And they ship it to you put together.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of understood. I mean, it's and with both companies, the more you buy, the cheaper they get. Mm-hmm. So I was a little concerned about this because even when I bought them to do the research, I was like, this is kind of pricey.
Yeah.
But now that I've used them, I've changed my mind a little bit. But 70% overall feel like $16 isn't too expensive to spend for a packaging system like this. The Beer Shipper, out of the 6 people that used it, all 6 felt like that was worth the money. The Whale Pod, out of the 6 people that used it, only 2 felt like that it was worth the money.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So to me, that was, I mean, so basically the Beer Shipper was the majority of the people that felt like this packaging system is worth that $16 mark.
Yeah, because if you're doing the flimsiness, and I don't know how well it held up overall, because you got the last shipment from the Whale
I did,
Pod.
yeah.
So, yeah, just doing that one shipment with Scott, I was like, man, this almost, for me, the box had, for me to do one more trade, could only do 1 or 2 more trades.
So I saw yours.
Yeah.
And how well it held up.
Yeah.
The Whale Pod, I feel like actually the box actually held up better.
Yeah.
The when I got the box back, I could do another 5 shipments in that box, and it'd be fine. The foam on the inside is still in good shape, with the exception of all the little tabs for the 12-ounce cans are broke off. But yeah, I feel like I could use that box another 3 to 5 times, and it would be fine.
Okay.
Here's the catch. If you need a new box, you got to buy a whole new system.
Yeah.
They don't just sell the box.
Yeah.
You have to buy a whole new system,
Okay.
which is kind of, I mean, I don't know. Like, it would seem to me like they would be like, all right, well, if you just need the box, we'll send you the box for $6, you know.
Are the foam insert for the bottom? Or the foam insert for the side?
You should be able to piece it out a little bit, I think. Yeah.
Where, for me, on the, I got the box back. The way, when I did the Whale Pod box the first time to go with Scott, I like the way it folded down, because I always felt like, okay, I could tape the shipping label to the top up here and still just tape this bottom lip. And when he gets it, all he has to do is cut the bottom lip off and then flip it open.
Right.
And then he does the same thing with his label,
Right.
which he did
Yeah.
when he sent it back. So I thought that was bad.
And that's why he's your best. He's your BTF.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we, last episode we drank some of the beers that you got from this trip.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So my box came from Robert Keplinger. We've mentioned him a couple times on the show. He sends us quite a bit of beer, but
He's basically our Patreon group.
our patron. So my box came from him, and dude, that box was when I popped it open and sent everything that he sent me. Even though I did get a little upset that there was lactose in a couple beers, but you're right, I did not put. I can't have lactose.
Yes, that's your own fault.
And so, dude, it was funny. We got those beers, we drank them on the last show, and now I've seen those beers that we drank
Yeah.
all over social media on different guys that I follow on Instagram and Facebook has all be talking about these Turning Point beers that we drank on our last episode. I was like, hey, wait a minute, fuckers, we had those before you guys. Well, we got them through this trade, and so I started off with the beer shipper. I actually thought that was a pretty cool little thing. It's way different. You actually have a big foam, big piece of foam that separates in half, and you're able to put, cans in it.
It's got individual slots
Yeah.
molded into it
Yeah.
that a 16-ounce can fit in
Just
perfectly.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
So I boxed it all up. When I sent it out, I sent all 16-ounce cans. The one thing I was worried about was if I did send a 12-ounce can, there's that different, that head space. It's not a lot. You're talking about maybe an inch and a half between the height of a 16-ounce can and a 12-ounce can. But I got a little worried. Cans get dented. You could have something pop. But they did provide a bag, which I got worried about with the whale shipper when I first sent that. Was like, oh, I kind of feel like I need to take all the foam pieces out, put it together in a bag, and put it back in the box.
So I think it's important to kind of describe this a little better because it's they included a plastic sleeve essentially for this foam insert to slide into, and then you slide that bag covered foam insert into the box, which I have gotten a lot of trade boxes back from people where they had slid all the beers into a giant trash bag.
Yeah.
That way, if you have a leaker, everything stays within that plastic bag.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be that if you do UPS, FedEx, or if there ain't a way that they think there's any kind of alcohol in a package, and you're not have a license to distribute alcohol, they should stop that package.
But they never do.
They never do. So that's why I like the sleeve. So when I put it together, it was basically easy. It's pack and play. You throw in your beer, you throw the top on, you put it in the sleeve, you put it, and it was really easy. I had no problems with it. So I thought that was pretty cool. I've dealt with the different foam inserts, different. So I thought that was a pretty good way to go. The box seemed really sturdy. Unlike when I did the whale pod box, I was still feeling like this has to go into something.
Yeah.
Like I was really worried, like this box is not going to make it on its own.
Right.
Like when I went to go drop it off, like she's like, "Oh, dropping off," and she saw me looking at the box, thinking, "Maybe I want to put in something bigger." I go, "Yeah, I'm dropping off." But for the beer shipper and the box that got back, you could tell that so many people taped the top of that box that one of the lips just tore up from people trying to cut it open.
Right.
Because there's so much tape on top of it.
Yeah.
So it almost needs, like, if the beer shipper box could come with a little sleeve on the side, like a reusable Ziploc bag that's taped to it, so people could put the shipping label in there.
That's a great idea.
And that way they're not over taping the top of the box to keep the label on, and it just has like a couple pieces of tape on the top.
Yeah.
I think that would probably make the box stay longer. But for me, that's the only thing. Like, the foam held up fine. When I got it, I was like, well, where's the goddamn bag? It's like, so I unpacked it. I took a couple pictures. I sent them to you. I unpacked it, and I was like, well, that sucks. No, they stopped using the bag, but I mean, with the foam, you kind of feel like I don't have to, And so I was like, well, you know what? This box is kind of trashed. I'm not going to carry this box all the way downstairs because I'm probably just going to throw away the box and find a new box. So I go pull the foam piece out of the box, and guess what's underneath it? The bag.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so someone probably got it like I did, unpacked it, said, oh, I'm going to throw the bag in the box, put the foam insert in it, and then was like, oh, crap, I'm late shipping my beer. Just pulled the top foam insert up, threw beer in it, threw the top, taped it up and sent it. And then the next guy was like, wait, I thought they said this was supposed to come with the bag. Oh, screw it. Don't worry about it. So
I personally, the fact that it came with the bag to me was just like a really unique, creative thing.
yeah.
And I liked the fact that I just had to just plop, 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 throw them in the individual sleeves that were cut out of the foam, and they were good to go. And I agree with you because all you got to do is find a box to fit that size, and you're good to go. Yeah. So,
I mean, if you even find a little oversized box that maybe fit a growler on the side, you just wipe that, package that up and throw it on the side and throw it in a box and send it out. So
some of the comments we had specifically about the beer shipper were, one of them was great shipper. And another one was, if possible, making it adjustable to allow crowlers. And
is that the same guy that got pulled?
That what?
Did he get the whale pot and the beer shipper? The same guy? He's like,
no,
it should be adjustable.
This was a different person.
Okay.
However, to whoever got this one, the thing about the survey portion of it is it was anonymous, so I don't know who actually responded. But if possible, making it adjustable to allow crowlers. Beer Shipper actually has a crowler shipping system.
Okay.
So they have a complete set of where you get an insulated crowler shipper that fits inside of a priority mail one rate box. So you can fit crowlers into the same type of sleeves, slide it into a priority mail box, and ship it. And it fits in the medium flat rate box, and just ship it flat rate, which to me is a great idea. Whale Pod also has a similar system to where you can send a 6-pack of 16-ounce cans in a flat rate box as well. So, I mean, really, bottom line is both of these companies have come up with great solutions for shipping these beers. So, overall, which one did you prefer?
Me, for shipping beer, I always prefer to have a little protection around the beer. I always felt like when I've gotten beer from people and they've maybe packaged like 3 or 4 aluminum cans in one Ziploc bag and then wrapped it around, they seem to come more dented. And that's what I thought I was going to get with the Whale Pod that first time. I was worried they're just going to bang around in there. So I like having the individual foam insert where they separate them a little bit more.
Right.
So
seemed like there was some space in between each one instead of them rubbing up against each other.
Yeah, so I'm more for the beer shipper because I felt there was going to be more protection. I actually did, when I packaged it, I really felt it didn't need the bag. I was like, it's a nice option, and I like that they offer it, but I was like, there ain't no way any of these, like, I felt positively nothing was going to happen to that bag or to that box.
Right.
Where with the Whale Pod, I was still like at the mail-in copy looking at it going, I need to put it in a bigger box. I need to put it in a bigger box.
Right.
And and then going, you know what, screw it. It's only beer. Just walk away, and just see what happens with this, so.
It felt flimsy to you.
Yeah, I felt more confident. And actually, what I did was I did a pickup of for the beer shipper. Like that morning before I went to work, I just left it on my front porch and had UPS stop by and pick up my box. And so I have cameras, obviously, in the front of my house. And I saw the UPS guy come and pick the box, and he picked it up and he dropped it.
Really?
Yeah, I saw him literally drop it, and I was like, he just slipped out of his hands because he was trying to read something and grab the box at the same time, and I think he just didn't realize the weight of it, and it just slipped out and fell. I was like, oh, well, and I was like, you know what? I'm not worried about that. That's
the whole part of it is part of the test.
Yeah, I was like, it'll last, and he just kind of walked off with it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not too worried. Now, if he would have done that with the whale pod, I would have been like, ooh, now the next guy's going to probably be complaining about he has a dent in the can or something like that.
So you're saying that the beer shipper is your pick?
Yeah, my pick to be like, it made me feel like more secure that beer is actually going to get to that place.
So I agree with you. I feel like the extra styrofoam instead of just the like flimsy kind of less dense foam, and the fact that each beer had its own individual sleeve, I felt a lot more secure with that. And also I felt like it was easier to package.
Oh, yeah.
Because I put 12-ounce cans. When I shipped with the beer shipper, I put 12-ounce cans in there, and I didn't do anything extra. All I did was just slide the 12-ounce can in there. I didn't put extra bubble wrap. I didn't do anything extra. All I did was just slide it in there. And the fact that the inserts are made to be a little tight held the can in place, and it shipped fine. I'm gonna disagree with you with the bag though, because I had a leaker.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Okay.
So I had a
it happens to everybody.
I had a I had a 16-ounce can that the seal wasn't quite right.
Okay.
And it leaked. And I sent it to the guy in the plastic bag, but he sent it back and it wasn't in the plastic bag. And it leaked. However, it never got out of that little pod or that little pocket.
Okay, so the seal couldn't break enough to actually get the beer to really spill.
Oh, no.
Out. Okay.
It all came out.
Oh, okay.
But the beer never left the pocket of that individual sleeve.
So you could have pretty much just pulled out and just drank it out right there.
I could have drank it right out of the sleeve if I really wanted to. I didn't, but I could have if I wanted to. But yeah, it wasn't like the entire can of beer, but it was a good percentage of what was in that 16-ounce can.
Yeah.
Came completely out, and it all stayed within that individual pocket or individual sleeve. So, like, when that happened to me, and this happened long before we did our trade event, I was like, all right, I'm sold on this thing. This thing's awesome. And even when the first time I packaged it, and it was just, you were here that night when I packaged it, I was just like, pop, 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 I'm done. I had it packaged in like 5 minutes. And then, when you go back to the results, the guys that used the beer shipper, they were the ones that had the most positive things to say about it. 9 out of 10 average for the guys that use the beer shipper compared to 8 out of 10 average for the guys that use the whale pod. So I think that we have a Hopheads approved beer shipper.
Going in the books.
The beer shipper is the Hopheads approved.
The beer shipper is the Hopheads approved beer shipper. So get out there, folks. Listen right now. If you need to send beer to your BTF, BFFTTF, your FTFT, BATFTFTF.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know either, but some people have them.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Go out
sounds
there.
to me like a venereal disease. But.
Go out there, get on Beer Shipper's website, get yourself a shipper, try it out. I mean, for me, I think that thing is going to hold up. It probably needs a new box. I have not checked the Beer Shipper website to see if they'll just have a new box. They'll probably give you the dimensions, and you could just go order one somewhere else.
So I actually reached out to Beer Shipper before we recorded this and asked him that exact question: can I get just the box?
Yeah.
And he's trying to find a way to ship just the box economically.
Okay.
Because right now it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to ship I'm guessing it's probably not a very expensive box.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's one of those things where it's like, all right, the box is $2, but it costs $8 to ship it to you.
Yeah.
What he did say is if you go to Home Depot and you buy just a normal Home Depot medium box and you put a little bit of peanuts around the outside of it,
It's probably going to fit just
it's
fine.
just about right.
Yeah.
So you should be able to find a box that fits it. He's based on the East Coast, and he did also say that he's trying to get it into more of his local breweries so that he can sell them locally. And he's always looking to improve the quality of the product. And one of the things that he said that is if you want to make this thing bulletproof, take the time when you get it, when you buy it, to actually take duct tape and wrap the entire foam insert in duct tape. And he said it's practically bulletproof. If you take the time to do that, he said the thing will last forever.
Sweet. We will go on his word, and we will duct tape it and take it outside and shoot it
Yeah, well,
full of cans and see what happens.
so I said bulletproof. I maybe he didn't say bulletproof, so let's not go that
He's
far.
like duck proof. I said you take duct tape to keep it against ducks. It's like,
oh yeah, duck proof. That makes sense.
It was the bullet tape we needed.
But if you are curious about having your own beer shipper, you can go to beershippers.com/hopheads and you get a special discounted price on one of the beer shippers. And like I said, he's also got the size that will fit crowlers and fit into a medium one-rate box. So I recommend getting one and giving it a shot, especially if you're a beer trader that trades a lot of cans. The beer shippers is the way to go.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the wine shippers that everybody's got one from back when when beer trading first started.
Yeah,
and wine shippers were the way to go.
Yeah. I even still have 2 boxes of wine shippers, and I don't use them anymore because doing 22-ounce bottles is not doing good anymore. So I went to 16-ounce cans. Again,
unless you're one of those
whale
whale traders.
If you're looking to get some whales, get one of those boxes. But this, when it came down to the point, I just wanted to try different beer.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you were. So doing different events like this was always a fun time because you always got to try a bunch of different beer. You didn't need a 22-ounce blah, blah, blah from some brewery that you heard and you see that everybody's, looking for it. Or, you wanted just the local beer, which we got from that and we had on the last show.
Yeah.
So, this is, I would say, for the people out there, if you're trying to get yourself establish a trading route and a couple BTFs, have them pitch. Say, hey, dude, you know what? This box is $16. I'll throw 8 on it. I'll send it out to you. Just do me a favor, throw $8 in the box,
Right.
And when you send it back, or if you have a couple guys and you're doing a 3-way trade or a 5-way trade, hey, everybody pitch in on this
dirty,
book.
but whatever. Oh wait, that's what we did.
I know. You told me it was going to be fun.
All right, Hopheads and Beer Geeks, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Hopheads Guide podcast. Make sure that you go on to Patreon /the Hopheads Guide. Check out our new Patreons page. Become a Patreon because 2019 is going to be the year of the Hopheads Guide. I can feel it. We got some good things in motion, and if you're not a Patreon, you're going to miss out on it. And we got some great content on there. We have the 40 episode that is only available to our patrons. And we'd also like to thank our patrons because they've done so much to support us, and they also have helped support our new camera, which is going to bring all this great new content that we've got coming up. Nobody says www anymore.
I know.
You just say Patreon.
I think they understand.
It's on the World Wide Web.
I know. It's like, what other web are you talking about? Go to WHW. They're like, what the fuck was that? Did he say H? Did you hear him? Rewind that.
It's like the AM of the internet world.
honey, get the iPhone out. Back it up. Did he say H? Is this why I can't find that fucking page? Because I haven't put an H in there yet.
Put an H in there yet. If you have a WHW website, you might want to rethink your website.
Well, I'm saving a shit ton of money off it while nobody goes to it because it doesn't really exist.
Go to Patreon and just search for the Hotbeds Guide and you'll find us. And make sure to become a patron because you'll miss out on great content like our discussions on WHW.
WHW. And trust me, it goes on for hours.
Your man.